Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us for today's super epic class. I'm really excited because do you guys remember when I posted the flyer looking for eyebrow models? Well, I found my 5 models, and as you guys saw on my Snapchat from a few days ago, we started working together, and oh my gosh, this class is going to change your life. Literally, it will change your brow game forever. I had a brow class that I did a year ago, a little bit over a year ago. And I just wanted to update that because there's so many new techniques, new products, new tools out there. And I don't want you guys to get confused with all that there is in the market right now. So I brought over a few of my favorite items and I picked out 5 very different eyebrows to work on for you. Originally, I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll do 2 models plus myself. You guys have seen my eyebrow tutorial on my Instagram on myself, but when I looked through everyone's entry when they were wanting to be my model and entering their pictures, I was just so overwhelmed. There are so many entries, everyone with great eyebrows that I can work with and create a new look for, so I ended up choosing 5. So this class is going to be very, very informational. I'll try to breeze through it so you're not getting bored or anything, but believe me, even if I took my sweet time on these girls, you would not be bored. They're super sweet. They have eyebrows that we all have. Like, I have no eyebrows. Maybe one day I'll show you again how my eyebrows are without anything on. But because we have 5 models today, I didn't want to create a 6th one. Then this would be like a 3-hour class. And I know it's a Sunday, you guys have things to do. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started in a minute, but before we do that, I wanted to give you guys a heads up on how this thing works in case you guys are new out there on dressyourfacelive.com. When you are watching a new class, if you want to follow along, by all means, go ahead and follow along. But my suggestion is the first time you're watching a class, if this is your first time watching, go ahead and write down all the notes that you need to write down. I'm going to give you a lot of product recommendations, brush recommendations, techniques, stroke recommendations, things that are going to basically fill up a bunch of pages in your notebook. So once you write down all the notes and you're getting comfortable with the way I do things, then once you're ready, you can watch the class again because it will be recorded. So you can watch as many times as you want before it expires. And if you're an all access member, you never get an expiring class. You get to watch it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no limit. If that's the case, then just watch it again once it's uploaded and then follow along with it. So you have all your notes, you have all the things that you need to complete your eyebrow class, and then you can actually follow along. And the other thing that I love is when you guys post postings of this class. So if you are a member, to show me that you're a member, during this class, feel free to take screenshots of your favorite techniques, post it on Instagram. Make sure your profiles are not private because then I won't be able to see even under my hashtag. But if you're public, hashtag DressYourFaceLive so I can read your comments. So what I'd love for you to do is post a screenshot from class and tell me what your favorite thing about this class was, and tell me what your future classes ideas would be like. So if you have an idea or a suggestion on a future class topic, I would love to hear, because honestly, I'm here for you guys. I want to make sure you're learning what you want to learn. So give me your suggestions by posting a picture from today's class and writing it down in your description so I can check it out and I can listen, and then I can create more content for you that you guys love, and I'll know what your favorite part about class was. Another thing you can do is to recreate one of these brow looks, or to try out my brow techniques and also hashtag DressYourFaceLive so I can make sure that you're learning correctly and I can show you my love by liking your posts too. So just remember hashtag DressYourFaceLive for any of your posts regarding the online school system so that you can connect with me on a different level and I can actually show you my love back. So without further ado, let me introduce all my models. I want all my models to come back here. We're all gonna say hi. They're all gonna give you their Instagram names so you guys can find them. I've also tagged them on my post so you can easily find them there. Come on over. They're gonna give you their name and their Instagram name. Okay, everyone crowd around. Look how cute. There's 5 models, can you believe it? Hey girls. Okay, can we get, should I just like,
I was really
we're so cute, oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna start over here, your name and your Instagram.
Hi guys, my name is Monique and my Instagram is xolovemo.
Aww, cute.
My name is Erin and my Instagram name is Erin Urbanski, Urbanski.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Joy and my Instagram is MUA_Joy Lima.
Got it.
I'm Debbie. My Instagram name is Lil Sparkly, LILSPARKLY.
Cute.
Hi, my name is Karina and my Instagram is CarrieGH28.
Carrie with the C. C-A-R-E-E? Yes. All right. So, who's going to go first? Do you want to just go in the same order as the last time? Okay, Carrie, you're first. You're going to take the hot seat. The rest of you can watch and enjoy today. And we're just going to bang through this one by one. And I'm going to show you all my favorite stuff. So lean back, relax. We're going to zoom in on the camera so you guys can get an amazing view of the brows. And you can see every step by step along the way. Cool. Can we go closer or no? Pretty much basically just eyes. And then maybe a little more zoom. Oh, there I am. Hello. Remember, you guys, to ask your questions on my latest post on Instagram. Let me show you what that post looks like so you are not confused as to where to ask your questions. It's this post here, this one, this lovely video post. So ask your questions on this post on the comment section so that I can go over it at the end of class and answer a few of them for about 10 minutes at the end of class. All right, we are good to go. I love this view right here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Right now she has makeup on, but she's not wearing anything on her eyebrows. So the first thing that I like to do is I like to brush through her eyebrows just to make sure there's no powder stuck in them or anything. This brush is Anastasia Beverly Hills angled brow brush. Looks like this, and it has a spoolie at the other end of it. So it makes life easy when you are drawing and then brushing through. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about the things that I would like to do for her brows. So first things first, I'm just going to examine the brow shape and look at it in proportion to her face. Right now I'm seeing big, beautiful eyes, and I see brows that can use a little bit of extension so that they can actually cover and frame the whole eye. So one thing I'm noticing right off the bat is her eye starts here, and I would love for her brow to line up with that. So I'm gonna add a few extra hairs here, hair strokes. Another thing that I'm noticing is that the tail is a little bit downturned. What I would like is for the brow to look like it's going upward rather than downward. So what our goal is to add a little bit of volume below the brow and then above the brow here, so that instead of having a downward turned brow, we're adding volume on the bottom here and on the top here, so it looks like it's going up. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I'm gonna go nice and slow for one of the brows so you can really follow step by step, and then we can do the other brow together if you'd like, and we can go a little bit more with the flow. So I'm now gonna examine and see if there's any hairs that I need to tweeze. Now, as a makeup artist, technically, you're not allowed to tweeze hair, extract hair, do anything like that unless you are a licensed cosmetologist. I am a licensed cosmetologist, even though I stopped cutting and coloring hair last year simply because of time constraints. I just don't have time to do it anymore. I still keep up with my license just in case I need to clean up brows or do anything else, or in case I do want to get back into hair coloring again. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tweeze a little bit of hair down here and a little bit of hair over here, but I don't want to over tweeze the front half because I really do need that hair to thicken up her brow on the front half. It's mainly that arch and the outer half that I do want to lift up a bit. My favorite tweezers are Anastasia Beverly Hills. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clean it with alcohol solution or brush cleaner with alcohol in it, just to disinfect and sanitize. So I'm doing that right now. I like to disinfect right in front of my clients because I don't want any questions asked really. I just want them to know that I know what I'm doing and feel comfortable right away. Okay? So this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills tweezers, my favorite tweezers ever. And I'm just gonna remove a little bit of stray hairs along the arch and tail. I do not want to remove any hair above here because I really do want that to raise the tail up. So I'm just focusing on that bottom edge. Don't worry about the really little hairs. Those are not going to show once the makeup is done anyway. So I'm just going to remove a little bit from here. This bottom layer so that we can raise the outer part. Okay, I think we're good here. I do want to get rid of just a few little strays up here. Remember guys, when you're tweezing, always pull in the direction that the brow hair is growing. So if the brow hair is poking out going that way, you want to pull that way. If you pull the opposite way, it's going to start growing in that opposite way, and you do not want to mess up the growth of the brow. All right, I think that's good right there. Now let's get started on the actual drawing. So what I love to do is I like to use Eyebrow by Benefit. This is Eyebrow by Benefit. I'm just going to use this to brighten up that outer half of the brow. And I'm going to blend using my 242 brush from MAC. 242 from MAC. I'm just going to blend by pushing it right into the skin. Pushing it in. And you can use your fingers along the edges. So what this does for me right now is it just kind of gives me a lift on that outer half of the brow, just so I can visually see how low I want to go with that beginning piece. Now that that's done, I'm going to go in with I want to show you guys a new brow definer by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I know you guys have seen this all over the internet right now. It is the latest craze in brow pencils. And again, it's called the Brow Definer. And on one end is a very interesting angled pencil. On the other end is a spoolie. So this pencil I've used already, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it on a paper towel to sharpen it. So, you know, let me grab a paper towel real quick so I can sharpen this. And I'll show you guys exactly how I'm doing it. So, here's a paper towel. I'm just going back and forth until I have a flat surface on this pencil. So it's best if you just do it on a flat thing. So I'm going to do it on my table real quick. Until I see that it is a perfect sharp surface. Okay, I'm going to show you up close now. See how sharp and nice? This is how incredible this pencil is. So this sharp end that's closest to you guys is going to be what I'm going to make fake hairs with, little hair strokes. And then the whole side of the pencil is what I'm going to use to fill and to draw thicker lines. So first of all, I'm going to start making little hair strokes. So I want to bring in the eyebrows a little bit so that it lines up with the corner of the eye. It will line up right there on the brow. So I'm going to start building with some hair strokes. This color, by the way, is called chocolate. It's a nice, rich brown. Hair strokes. Do you see those hair strokes? So I'm just going to do that on the areas that I want to build more length. Now that I've done that, I need to thicken the lower half of this eyebrow so that it lowers, and then thicken the upper part of this eyebrow here, of this eyebrow area, so that it raises up. So she's going to turn a little bit, and I'm going to use the whole flat side of the pen to add thickness to that side of the brow. And then we're going to add a higher arch here and extend the brow. So the overall shape has now been laid out. Now I have to fill in gaps and make it look more natural. So I'm going back to that sharp point of this pencil, and I'm going to start stroking within the gaps. And I'm going to smooth out any areas that seem uneven. And remember, the spoolie absolutely helps to blend afterward. So see how I'm shading in and blending so it doesn't look too obvious. So now she has a really cute shape going on. I'm just going to add a little bit of darkness on this outer half, and I'm really going to fade this inner portion so it looks a little bit more like an ombre brow. I'm known for my ombre brow on my clients, but still keeping a very strong definition throughout. So now we're going to look straight ahead into the camera, and you're going to see the difference between original brow and the, I guess we're going to call it the Timonified brow. So I'm going to let you guys take your screenshot so you know exactly how I mapped it, and then together we're going to do this eyebrow. Let's Snapchat real quick. You know how I am on Snap. I have to snap every part of my life. All right, Snap, we just completed one eyebrow live in front of our studio. What do you guys think? So cute. Okay, ready to do the other one? So again, we're going to use this pencil. I do want to sharpen it a little bit because see, it's not that sharp anymore. See that? So I'm just going to, when I sharpen it, I'm going to roll it down to about there, and I'm going to remove everything above that tip by rubbing it on a paper towel or a napkin or paper. And now you can see when I twist it up, it's nice and sharp. Yay! That's how you do it. So again, just brushing out. Now I'm going to align where my eyebrow should start, and I'm going to start drawing little baby hairs just to complete that one area. Okay, so I've now established the beginning point of the brow. Now I can go in and start thickening up that beginning half of the eyebrow by the lower end. As so. And again, you guys, I'm doing this because I want to lower this half, I want to raise this half, so the eyebrow doesn't look like it's pointing down. It's got to look like it's going up. So you got to play with the balance. Now we're going to raise the arch and extend the tail. And I'm going to use this whole side of the pencil to fill in and blend. We're going to add hair strokes in between the gap areas. Blend, blend, stroke. Keep going in between the stroking and the blending until you're happy with the outcome. But keep in mind, do not over blend because you're going to be wiping away all your hard work. So don't do that. Blend only the areas that are too harsh. Okay. Now I'm going to start matching it up to the other eyebrow. So if that means I have to square this off a bit, then I'll do that. I'm going to straighten up this area here to match the other side. Now it's starting to really complement her beautiful big eyes. Blend, blend. I love to darken up that outer half with very light blending and keep that inner half nice and soft. Just blend a little extra on that inner half, that's all. Okay, now she's gonna look straight. And if there's anything I need to adjust, I can adjust it now. So I'm gonna take a step back and look right at her to see if there's anything I need to adjust. So I think on this one, I just want to straighten up the arch a little bit more to match that side. So I'm just gonna go in, straighten that out. Gorgeous. And remember, the brows don't have to exactly be alike because the two eyes are never alike. You just need it to be balanced with the face. So after you're done with brows, always take a step back, look at the whole face, and make sure everything looks balanced. Oh my God, girl, you look bomb. Okay, so from here, we're just gonna clean up the edges simply by using whatever was left on that brush that I blended her underbrow with. I'm just gonna use whatever product is left on there to clean up the upper portion of the brow. I don't like to use a lot of concealer or anything for this because honestly, I want the brows to look as natural as possible and I don't like the white line around the eyebrow thing. So for me, I just like to have it a little bit bright here and very natural everywhere else. And now you guys can see the finished brow. Yay! We're gonna zoom out so you can see the whole face and see how it complements. Ta-da! I'm gonna go in too, so we can have a little powwow moment. Okay, cool. So you guys see how gorgeous, and within minutes, we've literally changed the entire look of the face simply by adjusting the brows to match the eyes, and now everything's proportioned and it looks so, so amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next model. Come on up. This is so fun. This is so fun. Hi. Go ahead and take a seat. Okay. So, this is a model of brows that are thick and have great hair already, so we are not going to really add too much thickness or anything like that. What we're gonna focus on is the shape of the brow. So we're gonna zoom in now so I can talk to you about what are the things that I'm going to adjust for her today. Of course, we gotta get it all perfect. Yes. Excellent. All right, so model number 2, we are about to just change up the shape just slightly right in through here, this curved area here. I want to straighten it up, and I want to give her more of an arch rather than a rounder look. So, as you can see over here, it kind of dips down, and it's like a perfect curve right here and right here. What I would like to achieve is having the highest point of her eyebrow be out here. So let me show you a little something. From the edge of the nose, if you bring it straight up, that's where your eyebrow should start. From the edge of the nose, going through the pupil, the iris of the eye, that's where your arch should be. And then if you align the edge of the nose to the edge of the eye, that's where your eyebrow should end. So this is just the ratio of the best proportions for your eyebrow. But of course, every face is a little bit different. You want to adjust it based on the face shape, based on the eye shape, based on what your client wants to. You don't want to shock them or anything. I know eyebrows are a very shocking thing. When someone changes it, it's like, whoa, what the hell did you do? But you know, you want to go in with an open mind, and you want to, if you are the artist and your client has a certain type of brow that you really want to dramatically change, you have to talk to your client and let them know that this is what I'm planning on doing, is this okay? So we're just going to go ahead and get started now. I'm just going to brush through, make sure there's no powder stuck in her brow. Boom, boom. All right, now I'm going to start by adding a little bit of highlight again on this outer edge of the brow, high brow. Just on this outer edge. And we are going to smooth it. Let me just clean the brush a little bit. We're just going to smooth it with that same MAC 242 brush that we used before to blend. Smooth, smooth, smooth. If you guys have the Anastasia Pro Pencil, that works great as well. So I'm just smoothing out that area here and this area here, dragging it downward and using my finger to make sure that there's no chalky residue or anything like that. All right, so now that that part is done, I'm going to start adding some volume to her brow. What we're going to use is dip brow. We're going to use dip brow in ebony, just to create a little few extra brow hairs. This is what it looks like, by the way, dip brow in ebony. And I like to put it in the cap and smooth it on my brush. Same angled brow brush from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Now, I want to straighten up the lower edge of the brow. So I'm just drawing a little line. I'll go this way, along the lower edge of the brow. Like that. Now fill in the gaps. And now I want to raise the arch area. Remember where the brush landed here? That's where I want the arch to really stick out more. So I'm gonna grab a little bit more of that dip brow. I'm gonna start making little strokes. Thin strokes. I'm not pressing hard with the brush. I want it to look like hair. Out here, little strokes. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna raise up her brow this way and not in the center. Now we can just extend a little bit, no big deal, it doesn't have to be much. And now that we've created the new shape, now it's time to lighten up the brows using a brow gel. She has beautiful light caramel highlights in her hair, and I want her brows to kind of have that tone. So now that the brows are shaped, I'm going to go in with the caramel brow tint. This is the tinted brow gel from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I'm just going to cover her hair, just like mascara, with this caramel tinted brow gel. And that really nicely lightens the hair without making it look too blonde. It's a beautiful tone, totally matches her highlights. And the reason why I want to lighten it is because I don't want, now that we've thickened her brow in certain areas to create that new shape, I don't want it to look overwhelming. So I'm just kind of brushing back and forth until all the brow hairs are covered. And then once I'm happy with the tone, now she can look straight into the camera and you can see a nice arch there. Now our goal is going to be to ombre that beginning part of the eyebrow. So this is where the Anastasia brow palette comes in. Ta-da! This lovely book. It has every color that I need. And now I'm just going to use a generic brow brush. I got this in a free gift long time ago. See how frayed it is? I've cleaned it like a million times. And it is just a free brow brush from like a Lancome free gift. And I'm going to go in with the darker color of Caramel. This one right here. And I'm going to add that to the beginning of her brow. I'm going to use my finger to lighten. And that's going to give a little bit of that ombre effect right in the beginning. And I'm going to mix a little bit of taupe, just so it doesn't look too orange. I'm going to mix a little bit of taupe. And get that in there. Right in here. And it's got to look really faded, so you don't want to make a sharp line or anything over there. You want it to just look really, really soft and proportioned to the rest of her brow. Now I'm just going back to the Caramel and I'm setting the rest of her eyebrow with Caramel. So it has a nice soft kind of a blondish caramel tint to it. So it's not too dark in comparison with the highlights in her hair. So now you can see the new arch. Instead of a rounder eyebrow here, we are extending it this way. So we straightened out the round part, raised up the arch out here, and then dropped it down dramatically so that we have a new shape. Now with this thicker eyebrow, I would recommend more eyeshadow. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of what I'm going to do here. Again, nothing too dramatic, nothing too crazy. I'm really just having fun here. And I'm going to go in with a Lorac Unzipped Gold palette. I'm going to use some of the browns. I'm going to raise it right up. With bold brows, it's nice to have a little bit more crease action. And I'm just rolling in this color right here called Undeniable from the Lorac Unzipped Gold palette. This one right here. Okay, open. And now you can see a little bit more of that brown in here. It kind of opens up the eyes. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with the unedited dark brown. And while the eyes are kind of open, I'm just going to darken up this little outer V here. Just to give her a little bit of a smokier effect. And there we go. A pretty big difference between brow that's done and brow that's not done. So now we're going to do this one together. We're going to go nice and slow. We're going to straighten up that bottom part. We're going to raise the arch and drop it down. We're going to lighten the overall brow color. We're going to fade the inner corner. And then we're going to add a little bit more crease action to the eye to complete the look. So first things first, we already highlighted a little bit. Now we're just going to go back into the Anastasia Dip Brow in Ebony. And we're going to straighten up the curved part of her brow. Right in through there. Okay, so that's already straightened. Now we're going to raise the arch with little strokes. and extend the ends. I'm gonna move a little bit this way so you guys can see the side view. Just a little extension here, raising up here, and straightening up the bottom piece. Isn't that gorgeous? Let's smooth that right down. So now that the shape has been adjusted, I just want to thicken up this bottom piece a little bit to match the other side. But once you got that shape down, then you got to lighten up the overall brow, making sure that nothing is overwhelming. Okay. Now, for the tinted brow gel in caramel, this is Anastasia Beverly Hills. Cover up all the hair. Smooth that out. Now go in with any brow brush. I'm going to use a little bit of caramel first to create a little bit of a fade on that inner corner. And then I'm going to use a little bit of taupe to lighten it up. And I just want to add a little bit more caramel overall to give it a nice soft effect. And then now she's going to look straight into the camera. And now for the little bit of cleanup that's needed. So I'm going back to this brush here. And because she has a nice tan color in, I'm just going to add a little hint of my Cinema Secrets foundation palette number 8. This is the foundation palette here. I'm going to use a little bit of this lighter tone to brighten up the area in between the brows so they don't look too close together. Looking nice. And I just want to clean up a little bit of the edges without using a color that's too light for her. And then we're going to add that crease color and she'll be done. Again, this is the Cinema Secrets Professional Foundation Palette, kit number 8. Kit number 8, and I'm using the lightest tone. Okay, now for the the crease, we're going to start with the Lorac Gold palette. Going to give a little bit of this warmth right in here. By the way, this brush is a 217 by MAC. Very easy to use brush. Now we're going to use the darker one, the darker brown right in this outer corner. And then blend. All right, now we're ready to zoom out a little bit so that we can get a full view of the brows now that they are done. So we still have a thick, beautiful brows. If we wanted to thin them out, we could have just tweezed it a little bit more, but I didn't want her to let go of her brow identity. She has great brows to begin with, and thick is definitely in. So I kept them nice and thick, and I just changed the shape of it. Again, it wasn't really about going super thin or super thick in this case. It was really just about moving where the arch goes. So instead of a rounded arch in the center, we created a pointed arch right on the outer corner of that brow and gave it a little bit of a drop and then cleaned up the edges, and it just looks amazing. Thank you. Yay. All right, model number 3, where are you? What a fun class. I never get to have this many models in one room. Okay, go ahead and take a seat. Now, for this lovely girl, our issue is blonde hair. So we want to get a nice defined brow look on her blonde hair, but we also want to exaggerate the shape a little bit, add some definition, and one of those kind of like a squared off look, raised a little bit, you know, my signature brow. I want to give that to her. So we're going to go ahead and zoom in so you know exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to explain the products to you as well. So let's go in on your brow. And we'll Snapchat as well. Hey guys, here's model number 3. Blonde hair, we are going to give it some definition. Yes. All right. Perfect, love it. So let's get the hair behind the ears. Yeah. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are going to just exaggerate the arch, extend the tail. Remember that ratio, Anastasia's golden ratio. And we want to square this off a bit, and I really just want to exaggerate the arch really, and give her a little definition without going too dark. That's the thing with blonde hair, is it's a little tricky because some products turn orange on blonde hair, some products look pink. You want it to look as natural and soft as possible without looking too artificial or without looking too natural. You want to see some of it. So what I like to do on my blondies, first of all, we are going to really pop out your arch with this lovely pencil. And let me just clean that brush so we can give you a nice smooth blend there. Just blending down. Again, this is Highbrow from Benefit Cosmetics. For her, Anastasia's #1 brow pencil would also do the trick. All right, we're good there. I'm just going to also mattify her brow because I do not want, I'm going to mattify the skin around her brow because I do not want my fingerprints to mess with her foundation. So right now what I'm using is the NYX contour kit, which is included for free in my online class members when they sign up for a year. So if you guys sign up for a year, which is a discounted membership, you get a free gift box filled with some of my favorite contouring and setting products, and that includes this entire NYX contour kit, which I love, by the way. As you can see, it does a great job with mattifying and creating a nice smooth effect on the skin. And of course, we could totally go crazy with contouring. However, this is not a contouring class, maybe some other time. I just don't want any of my fingerprints messing with her. Very pretty eyeshadow, by the way. Makes your eyes really pop. All my girls had their makeup on before I saw them, and they're looking fabulous, I have to say. Love, love, love. Okay, so now everything's mattified, looking great. Now time for the brow. So what I'll do first is I just want to give the brows a little bit of thickness by adding Gimme Brow by Benefit Cosmetics. This is a brow thickening fiber gel. Look how cute this little brush is. And this is the color called Light Medium. So I'm just going to stroke it, like teasing the hair kind of. Stroke it back and forth, back and forth. And what it does is it literally attaches little fibers to your brow without looking clumpy or anything. It's just a small brush. To thicken up the brow so you don't have to do much. Look how much it changed her brow, just that alone. But of course, we don't stop at one step. We're gonna do 10 steps, but look how awesome this looks. So remember guys, when you're using this product, you gotta tease it a little bit into the brow so that the hair actually grabs the product. There we go. All right, so now that we've tinted her actual hair, now it's time to give her some shape and definition. So I'm going to use the MAC Lingering Eyebrow Pencil. I'm sorry, not lingering, Fling. MAC Fling. This is a blonde eyebrow pencil, Fling. This is what it looks like, nice and little. And we're gonna start by adding a little bit of thickness on this lower edge. Remember what we did on one of my girls? We lowered half and then we raised half so that we create an upturned brow rather than a downturned brow. So right now we're lowering the beginning half, creating a little bit of a square right here. And remember guys, stroke softly. Stroke really, really lightly. Do not press hard because then you're gonna get too much product on her. And I'm gonna use this brush to blend as I'm working. Oh, already that looks bomb on you, okay. So now we're going to start working on this arch. We're gonna really bring it out. The trick with being a brow perfectionist is to be able to think outside the box and to imagine the perfect brow on your client and then fill it in. So I'm imagining that the arch goes way out here, giving her a little extension here. Remember that ratio? Bam. That's where the arch goes. I'm going very, very light touches to create that ombre effect in the beginning. See how stunning? And that's all I'm gonna do for her. Just those 3 steps. So again, brightening up the arch with the highlight, tinting all the hair with the tinted brow gel, and now creating that definition and the point and that thickness in the beginning with a pencil. Look at that difference, just with a tint or tint plus pencil. And we're gonna do the same on the other side. So, we're gonna thicken up this lower half of the brow, little strokes. I'm not pressing hard on her skin at all. I'm just gliding my pencil. Just gliding. Light strokes, shading. Like I'm a tattoo artist, just shading. Blend with a spoolie. Square it up, raise it up here. Now we're really gonna make that arch snatched. Going high up here. And extending the end. Brush through, make it natural. And now we're just gonna take a step back. She's gonna look straight into the camera. I'm gonna see if everything looks even. Maybe a little here. And more blending in there. Now the only last thing left is to clean up the edges. So we're gonna do that with whatever was left on this brush, remember? And any areas that just need a little lightening, I just stroke with the brush. If you need to do a little back and forth, feel free. No big deal. I just wanna add a little something here. Awesome. Oh my God, I love your brows. Okay, let's zoom out and see the whole look. That was a quick one. And we're gonna Snapchat too. You guys can take a look how gorgeous the brows look. Now that they're defined, you can see her gorgeous eyes and her features all just come out so beautifully. I love it. Wow, girl.
Difference.
Look at that. And you can see it from far and they're not overwhelming. They're not too dark. We kept with more blonde schemes, but now they match the roots of your hair and I love that. Yay, thank you. All right, model number 4, come on up. I feel like this is a game show, right? Okay.
Come on down.
Come on down. Hello. Ah! As the chair spins.
Spinning on you.
All right, you're good?
I'm good.
We're good. Okay, so over here, we have a great beginning half, and we are missing the tail, like mine. If you guys have seen my brows, I basically have no tail. So hers is the type of brow that I'm very used to on a day-to-day basis. So what we're gonna do is we're just going to clean up this shape here and add a gorgeous tail and extend it. So let's zoom in and get started. I'm gonna tell you what products I'm going to use. I'm gonna use the Dip Brow by Anastasia Beverly Hills as well. We are going to use a color called Dark Brown because she has a nice rich dark brown caramelish kind of an undertone in her hair, and I don't want to go too dark or too ashy on her. I want to go pretty warm because her hair is very warm. So that's why I'm going with the dark brown. We might use a little bit of powder to warm it up a bit, but let's see how that goes. First of all, going back to our lovely highbrow pencil, just to establish the overall shape of the brow. I know a lot of you like to use this at the end as a cleanup thing, but I kind of like it in the beginning just to establish the shape and the arch that I want to do before I actually start drawing on her. So, back to my brush, let me just give it a little clean here. We're going to blend by pushing down. Again, this brush is really great. It's the MAC 242, good shape. And you can get a nice defined inner corner too with this. Ooh. Pushing it right in, extending it. Use your fingers if you feel like you got too much. Love it. Okay, so now that highlight kind of gives me an idea of how crazy I want to go on her brows, now I get to use my dark brow tools and start giving her a little life here. So we're gonna do Dip Brow in dark brown with the same angled brow brush by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Sharpening the brush, making sure that the product is nicely dispersed in here, nice and sharp. And I'm gonna start off by perfecting that inner half. Okay. Looking at the shape of her brow, the way she's tweezed it, I can tell that she loves a nice high arch and she likes that fierceness. So I'm not getting rid of the fierceness. I'm not going to soften it up. I'm going to keep it nice and tight, nice and high, but we're just kind of drawing it in at this point. So right now, filling up that lower part of the brow, and I'm going to fill up the upper portion as well. Remember, you can use the tip of the brush to draw little brow strokes if you want it to look very, very natural. And if you want gaps in between the brow hairs, then do the brow stroke method, where you're basically, instead of filling the gaps with solid color, you're filling it up with little hairs, little hair strokes. We'll clean up afterward, but since I have nails, I can do that right now. So little brow hair strokes if you wish. Just make sure that you're not pressing too hard when you're doing those little brow strokes. So I'll show you an example. I'll show you on my hand. So here's my hand. If you want to do brow strokes, this is sharp, yeah. Go very lightly with the edge of your brush. So that's how you want to do it. Very, very lightly. So we got the little strokies in. Now we get to do downward strokes because now we're working on that arch. Okay, so now we have all this going on. Now I feel more comfortable drawing the rest of the brow because I have now completed that beginning half. Let's see where I want my highest point to be. Right in here. So from here on, I'm going to start going down. And the brow should end exactly right there. Now it's time to thicken and define a little bit more. Making more hair strokes. Especially when there's no hair at all, it's nice to make little hair strokes. It looks a lot more natural then filling it in with a solid piece. It looks so great. Just want to make sure this top is nice and even. Smooth along this bottom. Okay, so now, how am I gonna do this? Do I do it this way? Okay, whatever. We're just gonna work with this. Okay, so now you guys can see the difference between this brow and this brow. Another thing is, if you want to change the shape at all, it's so easy to change a shape when there's not a lot of brow hair to begin with, because everything is just free for you. At this point, it's a blank canvas. You can do whatever you want. So if I wanted to thicken her a little bit, I can very easily thicken her up and create a little bit more of a dramatic drop here. There we go. Love it. And if someone wants a more square beginning, you can absolutely use whatever's left on your brush to very, very lightly go in and square out that beginning half of the brow. And remember to use a spoolie to blend it all together so you have a beautiful ombre brow right there. And you can always add a few little extra hairs to make it look natural again. Ooh, I like that. Okay, we're gonna copy that on the other brow. So now I'm gonna Snapchat again because gotta give my Snapchat family some love. All right, guys, check out this before and after. Isn't that hot? OMG. You have to be watching to know how I did that. Yes. I know, it keeps spinning. I'll just keep moving you around as I need you. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do the other side. We're gonna put the hair behind the ear a little bit. Back to the dip brow. First, we're going to perfect that inner half of the eye. Bam, bam, right there. I like to do that bottom edge first. And now remember the stroking thing. We're gonna stroke using the end of our brush. Just like that. See those? Oh my God, that just gives me life right there. Stroking little hairs. No one will ever know art. Now we're gonna stroke downward to match the strokes of her natural brow. We can blend with the spoolie. Give her a little bit of definition up here. All right, beginning half is pretty much done. At this point, we need to establish where our arch is gonna be. We've gotta make sure it's nice and balanced. So this is where the arch needs to be. I'm gonna move it outward. Right out there. And now we're gonna establish where the end needs to be. Right there, and now it's time to perfect. So grabbing a little bit more dip brow at this point, we're gonna make some nice little baby hair strokes. Using this spoolie to just make sure it's blending in. And now we're gonna look straight into the camera, make sure that they both look alike. I'm gonna lighten up this part to match the other side. I wanna raise this a little bit. drop this a little bit more dramatic. Stunning. Okay, now it's time to clean up the edges and really make a match. So going back to that same brush, my favorite little thing, and we're just gonna clean up right along the edges, making sure that everything just looks nice and tight. Smooth the bottom edge. Go right in here. Why I have nails, you guys, so I don't have to go back to another tool. All right, let's zoom out and get a nice, beautiful look at these fully styled eyebrows. All right. Oh yeah. Yeah, I had this issue earlier. Okay. So now you guys see how gorgeous a nice full brow effect is made and how to create a nice natural looking brow on areas that there is no hair at all. So start off with little strokes, and then you can always blend. If you feel the need to add a brow powder to make it warmer or whatever, actually this color looked perfect with her, but if it wasn't warm enough, I would have added some caramel brow powders to her to give it a little bit more warmth and lighten it up a bit. But I'm very happy with what this looks like. I think you look bomb. Thank you so much. Yay! And now my final model of the day. Come on up. Go ahead and take a seat. Yay! So over here, what we're going to be doing is just giving her some thickness and a whole new shape. She has thin eyebrows like mine. She actually has a good area where the arch is, naturally the way she teased it, but it's quite thin and we need to create a little bit more of a tail. So let's go ahead and zoom in and we're gonna do this step by step for you. Ta-da! By the way, everyone complimented your eyelashes on that last post. They were like, oh my god, lashes on fleek. Okay, so as you can see, we have the arches in the right place. I'll show you. Tip of nose to beginning. The eyebrow starts in a pretty good place, but I would like it to start a little earlier, and I'll explain to you why in a moment. Now going out here, her arch is already at the right spot, and we need to make sure that the tail ends over here. But the reason why I want to bring in her eyebrow just a little bit is so that the eyes really have this nice curvature here to go with her nose contouring. So when the eyes are close together, then you do not want the eyebrows to be close together because it's going to look too close. When the eyes are a little bit more far apart, like in her case, when they have a nice large shape and they're far apart, the way she did her makeup really brings out her eyes, by the way. I want to bring them in a little bit so that that nose contour can be nice and slim and really show it off. She did a great job with this, so what I'm going to do is just going to complement what she did on her face. So what we are going to do first, what I love to do, the highbrow. Focusing on the outer 2/3 of the eye, and we're gonna just blend it in using the brush. And we're gonna do some major thickening here. Well, it's not gonna be major, it's gonna be just enough, but a nice big difference. All right, now that that's done, I just want to make sure I've mattified the face a little bit. I don't want anything to not stay. So I'm going to use a little bit of NC40 and just mattify around her brows, just to make sure whatever I do on her brow stays. Okay. Now, time to draw. So, let's see. What do you guys want me to use? I think I'm going to go back to using the brand new Anastasia Brow Definer. And the color I'm going to use is going to be dark brown. Let me give it a little sharpening. All right, now that I've sharpened it, and you can see when I go up, it's nice and brand new. We're gonna start off with one brow. I'm gonna work with what I have first. She has a nice amount of space here, so I can go down or I can go up. She has space on both ends, so we're good either way. I'm just creating a little thicker bottom. And remember how I said I wanted to bring in her eyebrow just a bit? So let me just get that over with right now. I'm drawing strokes of hair. And we're just going to use a spoolie to blend a little. Okay, so that's been established now. I'm going to start thickening up where her arch is already. I'm going to grow it higher. I'm going to use the whole edge of the pencil to fill in the rest. And spoolie. So now you can see I've already doubled up the mass on her brow. Now I want to take it to the next level and square off the beginnings. So I'm going to go right in through here. Hair stroking, and just a little bit of spoolie blending. And remember, we're gonna ombre this part. So we gotta go really light with our hair strokes here. And if that means using your fingers to lighten it up, that's fine too. And now I'm gonna start working on the other side of the brow. So now that I've kind of really raised up and did this dramatic first half, I'm going to go in with the second half and create the tail. I love this shape. It's dramatic, but it's not overwhelming. And then just make sure it flows together. So giving it a nice curve right there. Look at that brow, holy crap. We've literally, this is even better than the promo video. I love, okay. So now you can see how soft and natural it is, but one thing that I do want to do is, because we are drawing with a pencil like this on bare skin, I do want to mattify it, and I want to make sure that in pictures it doesn't look shiny on the top. So at this point I'm going back with my brow brush, my generic one. If I find it, that would be great. There it is. And I'm going to go back to my brow book. Let's see what color I'm going to use. I'm going to use soft brown. And I'm just gonna mattify the hair, and then I'm gonna go in with a darker brown, this one from the caramel family, and mattify the outer half. So I use a softer color on the inner half and a darker color on the outer half. I'm gonna go in with taupe now to give that ombre effect here. We'll clean up the edges later. Right now I just want to create that faded effect, but we will sharpen it up with whatever's left on our concealer brush later. So for now, we just mattified, we're done with that, we're going to do the other side. Back to the brow definer, let me sharpen it, because look, it's not sharp anymore. See how it's like a little rounded? So I'm going to sharpen that by going like this. I want you guys to see how I sharpen it because it's very easy to waste this product if you don't sharpen it correctly. So I'm going here, just leaving a little bit on the surface, and then I'm going to basically wipe off whatever's showing on the surface here. So wipe that off on a paper towel or a napkin or a piece of paper. I've rubbed off whatever was showing up there. Now when I go up, you see how sharp it is. Okay, that's how you sharpen this. So now we'll work on this other brow here. Gotta match it up with the other side. So we're doing little baby strokes. Filling in here. Get some spoolie action. Adding thickness. Blend. Darkening up that lower edge. Upper edge as well. Any area that there's no hair at all, you want to just make sure that's really well defined. And now it's time to work on that tail. Gonna blend. Again, we'll clean up the edges a little later. Smooth, smooth. And now time to match it to the other brow. So I want to make sure that the thickness matches. I'm going to add some thickness all along the bottom edge. Right along there. Watch how I'm holding the brow pencil though, because if you just go like this, you're gonna get a fatty line. Look what happens when I go like this. It's not defined. But if I go straight in, like this, we have a defined line. So I'm going in straight in like this. Especially when you're working with a pencil that's complex in shape like this. And then now I'm just using the tip to give a nice shading. And doing some back and forth blending, just so I have a good overall balance between the two brows. Okay, now I'm going to lower this just to match the other side. At this point we're basically done, but I just want to make sure both brows look the same. And now I'm going to add a little bit of eyeshadow to her brow, some brow powder. If you have eyeshadow, that's fine too. We're going to use caramel. In the beginnings, we're going to use soft brown to darken. We just basically need to mattify at this point. And a little bit of taupe right in the beginnings. Now we get to clean up the edges and really match them up. So going in with our brush that we used earlier, I'm squaring off and cleaning up the edges of the brow. I'm not really using any more product, it's just whatever's left on this brush. Okay, let's take a look straight on. Make sure everything's looking similar. I do want to add a little bit more. Highlight in here. Be very careful when you're blending a highlight after the brow is already done. You don't want that highlight getting on the brow. It can ruin all your hard work. So just be very, very careful. Smoothing that out. I'm just obsessed with doing the back and forth motion. I'm just going to clean up the edge of the brow here with the brow brush. Okay. I feel like I need to thicken this up a bit. Let me thicken that. So I'm using the pomade, dark brown real quick, just to make some final little minor adjustments for the two brows to match perfectly. There we go. I'm so picky with eyebrows. All right, love, love, love. Okay, we're gonna zoom out so you guys can get a better look at what the brows look like now that they are done. Ta-da! Gorgeous. So we basically, like what, tripled the brow mass and gave her a more exaggerated arch. Her arch was already in the right place, so we just wanted to exaggerate it and give it a little definition. And of course, the ombre beginning, so it's not like a harsh start, really is what makes this brow kind of look a little bit more natural, and she can totally get away with it. Looking at her, they're not gonna be like, whoa, you totally just overdrew your brow. No one's gonna say that. It looks like it's really a part of her. Thank you. Yay. All right, we are done with all the demonstrations. Now I'm gonna sit down and take the hot seat and answer a few of your questions, and then we're gonna say bye-bye for the day so you guys can practice and show me your work and tag me and all that good stuff. So we have about 10 minutes. At 1:30, we're gonna sign off and say bye. But for now, I get to answer some of your questions. So let's see here. If you have not asked your question yet, go to my latest post on Instagram, that video post, the slideshow of all my models before and afters, and ask me your questions there. And then I'll answer some of the more popular ones. Let me go to the beginning to make sure I have everybody here. One of the questions I'm getting a lot, I know this has like nothing to do with this class, is am I going to IMAX in New York this year? I'm not, I'm so sorry. I was only able to attend local LA shows. It's really hard for me to travel at this point because of all the bookings and stuff. So unfortunately, I will not be able to come to New York IMAX. I'm so sorry. All right. Emily Jonna is asking, what's your favorite brow product? So everything that I use in today's class are my favorites. Like, you guys know I'm not into just using one item. And I also don't like to use a million items either. I like to kind of keep it in a very achievable manner. So on each contestant on today's show, I use maybe anywhere from 2 to 4 products, not even. I think the average is like 3 items. But for myself, for every day, if I just want to use one thing, get it over with, I would say my go-to is Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in Brunette. That's my color. It has a little spoolie at the end. It's a nice thin pencil. It's automatic. I don't need a sharpener, and it's so fast. But the only thing that drives me nuts about it is that I always have to have 2 to 3 in my bag at all times, in my makeup bag, because you never know when it runs out. You can't see it when it runs out, and it's pretty short in there. So for me, I go through a pencil like every 3 weeks or 4 weeks. It's ridiculous, but it is so worth it. So I always get 2 or 3 at a time, keep it in my bag. So if I run out of one, I always have a backup, and I keep one full one in my husband's car in the dashboard, because I do my makeup in the car all the time. As you tell, I always do my makeup in the car. So just in case I forgot to have a backup, there's a backup in my husband's car. Yay. Okay. Okay, so Hannah_Suhail is asking, I have a gap between my eyebrows due to stitches marks. Which product would give the best coverage? So when you are missing a patch of hair due to a scar or stitches or an accident or just no hair in your brow area, if you're trying to fill up a gap and you have nice thick hair on both sides of that gap, you want to use a dark full coverage product. So what I would recommend is going in with the Ebony Dip Brow or something dark, like a dip brow product, and using a brush just like I use on many of the girls today. I made little strokes. So draw the little hair strokes with a thin eyebrow brush using dip brow. But remember, if it looks shiny, also set it with a really dark brown powder, like an eyeshadow or a brow powder, just to get rid of any shine in there. But definitely try that. And I have another suggestion. Let me show you something. This is not for the brows, but it is something I really, really love for my clients that are literally missing a patch of hair and they have great hair on both sides, and if the dip brow just isn't enough coverage. Have you guys ever tried these? The Benefit They're Real push-up liners. So this is a gel liner in a felt, not a felt, in a rubber applicator. So look at the applicator. It's a rubber tip. It's flexible. And what it does is you squeeze out some product. Okay. You squeeze out some product and you use that rubber applicator to draw. And look how full coverage it is. And by the way, it's super waterproof. So if you are trying to get in and fill up just a patch of hair that isn't growing, then use something like this. And because of the applicator, let me show you. Is this too close? Okay. Because of the applicator, you can really just go nuts with it, and the applicator will never mess up like a brush because it's rubber. So try that in the little areas that aren't growing. This is gonna change your life. Also, so it only comes in like crazy colors and brown and black. So what I do is I have black and brown in my kit at all times. And if I'm working with someone with really, really dark hair, I'll mix the brown and the black together to create their perfect blend. Or you could just use the brown for lighter hair. So Benefit They're Real Push-Up Liner is what would give you the most coverage, the longest lasting effect, completely waterproof. You can wear it, when you're swimming, things like that. Look, like it's so hard to remove. It's crazy, and it hasn't even set yet. Imagine when it fully sets, you're not gonna be able to remove it at all. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. Let's answer some more questions. Last 5 minutes. A lot of questions about different eye looks. I will definitely do an updated smoky eyes class so you guys can get to know more about smoky eyes, puffy eyes, dark circles. I want to do that class too. I know a lot of you guys have questions about that, so I need to do that. Okay, Crystal Erlinson is asking, What if a client has very poorly shaped brows, like if they're very, very far apart, like they start in the middle of their eye or something, and look like upside down Nike symbols? Would you draw in new brows or would you just fill in what they have? I don't want to hurt the client's feelings. Okay, so what I would do if I was in your case, and if someone had, what you would call messed up brows, but you don't want to hurt their feelings, is you could just ask them, hey, like, what's your favorite brow shape? What do you want me to do on you? That way it's up to them to tell you. And if they say, oh, I just like what I have, if you could just fill it in, do your thing, but just don't overdo it. So if you want to bring in their brows a little bit, bring it in a little bit. Don't let them look in the mirror until you're completely done with everything so that they can understand the placement, and you can let them know, sorry babe, I just had to bring in your brows just a little bit because it didn't go with your eye look, that look that I chose for your eyes, or whatever it is. You don't have to blame it on them having bad brows. You can easily say, hey, I'm gonna bring in the brow a little bit because it's gonna match your eyeliner shape, blah, 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 whatever excuse you want to give. But my best way of doing it is to also ask them, hey, is there a certain way you want me to do your brows? Is there a specific brow shape that you've always wanted to try? And that way they can really tell you, you know what, I've always wanted to try your brow shape, or I've always wanted to do the whole ombre thing that you do. And then be like, oh, you know what, let's totally do it today. I think it'll look amazing on you. Make them feel comfortable and just do it. But again, don't let them look in the mirror until you're completely done, because when your eyebrows are done and nothing else is done, it looks psychotically crazy and you don't want to freak them out. So, I love the comments. Thank you, guys. All right. So, Sash Somai is asking, please come to South Africa. I wish I could. I'm dying to go to South Africa, by the way. Any tips to help with growth for eyebrows? Olive oil, coconut oil. How do we ensure that the product lasts on the brows? Favorite tools. Okay. So, favorite tools, everything that I did in this class. How do I ensure that the product lasts on the brows? I mattify it with brow powder. But as far as any tips to help with brow growth, the only thing clinically proven to grow brows that I've really seen a big difference with, even on myself, was Latisse. Latisse is an eyelash growth serum that you can absolutely use on your brows, and it will help grow your brows, but be prepared to have to trim your brows a little bit more, because it will grow not only the number of brows, but the length of the brow and the thickness of the brow. So you may have to do a little bit extra trimming. But if there's little brow hairs that you have that aren't growing very thick, use it on those areas to create thicker brows. But you have to be very, very religious about it. You have to do it every single day or night, and not forget, because as soon as you stop doing it, your brows are going to go back to what they used to be. It's not a permanent thing. It's like food. You have to keep feeding your child, right? Otherwise, boop, gone. So make sure that you keep doing that. It is a little expensive. I did it for a while and then I stopped because I just kept forgetting to do it. So I'm like, screw it, I'm just gonna call it a day and just be better at my brow game with makeup. So last question and then we gotta go. Madeline B is asking how to tame dark bushy eyebrows. So to tame dark bushy eyebrows, first of all, you wanna brush all the hair up, trim what's going above and beyond the shape, then brush all the hairs down, trim whatever's going beyond the ideal shape, and then go in and you can lighten the brows with a brow gel. So like a caramel brow gel that I used today on one of my girls from Anastasia Beverly Hills will lighten up your brows a little bit. Any tinted gel that has coverage can lighten it up a bit, or if you really want to go extreme, you can use facial hair bleach just for like a minute and wipe it off, and it'll lighten up the brow to an extent, but just be careful. If the brow hair is super black, and if you use that bleach, it could turn a little orange, so you may have to use like a more taupey brow gel to remove the orange. And I think that will be it for today. You guys are so amazing. I wish I could answer some more questions, but we really have to sign off at this point. I will answer more next time. I have what's my next class? Makeup for Teens, I think is the next class. It's gonna be so much fun. I have not done this class before. I know a lot of you out there have to do junior bridesmaids as your clients. You have to do proms. You have to do other school dances. And some of you out there are still in high school or in early college years, and you wanna know how to do your makeup in an appropriate manner as to not make you look too much older. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. And for that, I'm gonna choose one of you to be my model. So I'm gonna do another contest and pick one of you guys out there to be my model for that show. So stay tuned for all of that on my Instagram page. For now, we're gonna sign out. I wish you guys a great week ahead, and I'll see you very soon. Mwah. Bye.